Toronto art scene? This is Magicide reporting live and illegally from Don Blanche all the way up in Northern Ontario. They've got all these art projects going on, but they specifically asked for me to not bring my cameraman and to not record an ArtStars episode. I'm actually recording this right now on my digital camera. Nobody can stop ArtStars. This is what we've got for you now. We've got a photo slideshow, which I'm going to show you. I've been documenting the process this whole time, so I hope you don't mind, but it's going to be one snapshot at a time, and you know what kind of snap that is. Okay, here we go. This looks like a Mexican shantytown, but it's actually like, this is the actual artist residency. Everybody set up their own beds in this crazy fucking, like, you know, like, look at that. This is how people were sleeping. And then for those people who weren't artists, had to sleep out on the lawn.
What? Is that your tent?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
That's my tent, but I couldn't stay the night because I didn't have a mat, and it was really, it was fucking cold. Like, I would have froze if I had to stay outside. And then, like, people are stuck outside, but then, like, I could have just slept inside, just like, you know, on a couch or something. Like, it was just so unfair. Yeah. I felt like an outsider. I felt like an outsider to this art scene, for sure. So that's the dude, that's Don Miller. And he was giving a tour of his farm to people who came in. There was like free bus, free food, free accommodation. And there's my name for the bus of the people that came down on September the 4th. It was very kind of like controlled, you know? Mm-hmm. They could decide who they would want to bring down on a bus or not. And they had the opportunity and privilege to say what they could want and didn't want their guests and visitors to do.
Yeah.
So it was a very intimate experience, unlike Scotiabank Nuit Blanche, which is just kind of like a huge herd of people in a vast Price Club. And then I asked him, I was like, how can you do all this for free? Mm-hmm. Like, why do you do this? And he's like, I don't want anything in return. I just want to set a good example. And I thought that was pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. When you walk into a place where there's a bunch of artists and they know you're a journalist or a critic, there's like a hesitance or a reluctance. But a great way to bond with them is to cook with them. And we did this thing where we took all these, you know those little like caramel candies that are wrapped up in plastic? Mm-hmm. We unwrapped like 100 of them. Mm. We put it in a pot and we made candy apples. But the only problem was that people were peeing out on the lawn and in the bushes where there was lots of apples on the floor.
Ew.
Cut that out.
No, that's going in.
There's me. I'm really proud of myself for taking my first pee in the bushes. There's this kind of obsession in sort of the Toronto art world that I find to be a fortune teller. I don't know if it necessarily started with Fastwurms or whatever, but there's kind of like this witchery, pagan sort of like obsession with fortune telling and tarot card reading. And this is one of the projects that related to that. You would go into this fortune telling little hut, which was led into the basement. And then there was a baby situated in this little shrine.
Oh my God.
And the baby would tell your fortune. This baby was wearing a turban, and that's Swintak standing right there. And she was the main curator for the whole barn. And behind the baby, there was this woman operating a computer where she would program it to say certain things. This is Ryan Steck, or Speck, Ryan Steck. And he's like a media artist, and he ran his own, he bought a transmitter, and on the 3rd floor of Don Blanche, he set up a radio station that was broadcasted all around the town and all around the building. So he was creating media at this place, but we weren't allowed to, because ArtStars isn't a project, isn't an art project to some people, although it is. They consider it to be, you know, more of like a traditional form of media. Yeah. And this guy, it was okay. He wasn't a threat because he's a media artist. So I was a little miffed. I think that's kind of like why I didn't feel like staying the night. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like why I'm not staying in Toronto, is because of stuff like that.
Like what? Like
the fact that these people are allowed to have video cameras, but I'm not.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm a threat.
Right.
You know. Okay, this is the man who saved my life. This is Sean McCallioff, and he's the editor of Young Street Media, and I write for him, and he's also the editor of Spacing. I was tweeting my first tweet that he's a very smart man, he caught it, and I was like, ArtStars is banned from Don Blanche. And I was like, can you please take me home with you? And he was like, yes. And I'm like, I'm gonna pack up this tent And we are leaving. And he's like, okay, let's party first and then we'll go. And so that's what we did. Thanks, Sean. Love you. I included this photo to show Nadia Barralik from the beginning of when I arrived at Don Blanche down to an after, so I could show you the before and after pictures. This is her in her Queen West hipster mode, and then this is her at the end of the night in Twin Peaks Star Trek mode. This is what Don Blanche does to artists.
Wow, I love her.
Yeah, pretty awesome.
Let's go back, and then that, and then
before
that.
Don Blanche, after Don Blanche.